And I think Nick Sirianni is like, I'm not changing anything because we lost the game. We had an outlier game with penalties and 2 turnovers. We haven't done that most of the year. We lost the game. If we fix those 2 things, we'll be back in the win column. You think I'm right, or you think he's looking at it more like we need to make a change?
No, 100% right. 100%.
So I'm talking to Eagles fans, and as always, after a loss, a lot of Eagles fans dissect and they have their version of what they believe the changes need to be, whether right or wrong. Most of them lie offensive side, where you look at the philosophy, you look at the way they're playing, you look at the run game. People want to open it up. People want to throw the football more. And I think all of these things are great to talk about, but I'm of the belief, John, and you tell me if I'm wrong, I'm of the belief that Nick Sirianni does not think the Dallas Cowboys loss was a problem that needs changing. I'm of the belief that he views it as an outlier game where they had 14 penalties and they had 2 turnovers and they lost the game. His 40-2 record when they win the turnover battle still remains. He had an outlier game with penalties, which negated a lot of their offensive success in the second half. And I think Nick Sirianni is like, I'm not changing anything because we lost the game. We had an outlier game with penalties and 2 turnovers. We haven't done that most of the year. We lost the game. If we fix those 2 things, we'll be back in the win column. You think I'm right, or you think he's looking at it more like we need to make a change?
No, 100% right. 100%. You're right. No, yeah. No penalties. No turnovers. They win that game. Which is not incorrect, by the way.
So all the shit that we talk about, they don't even think about it like we do. They don't even look at it.
Well, and their defense, they can't.
Because I agree.
Yeah, I'm not talking about it. They can't be.
There is a level of naive, like you always say. Just because a great coach is a great coach, it doesn't mean you can't call him out when you think he's wrong.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But I mean, they just can't be emotional about it. I mean, you can't approach this game in an emotional fashion. Yeah, the reality is, forget about the turnovers because, they have been riding this turnover wave, which is unbelievable, historic from not turning the football over. And, they get a bad break with Saquon, somebody coming from behind. He puts the ball on the ground. Poor decision by Xavier Gibson. Puts the ball on the ground. And by the way, the defense persevered in those instances, but still, it would have affected you from an offensive standpoint. And the penalties, again, we brought up the certain plays where 1st and 10 at the 40 becomes first and 15 from 2nd and 10 becomes 2nd and 15. Backed up, and all of a sudden you're behind the sticks. So, cleaning up the penalties and the pre-snap stuff. Some of the stuff, like Brett Johnson getting his hands up in somebody's face mask, that's a penalty. There's nothing you can do about that. But the pre-snap stuff you can fix, or you should be trying to fix, and they certainly are. I've talked to Jalen Hurts about that, which has been pretty consistent this year. And that's where I think, if you want to blame the coaching staff, start there. Start there. Because it's their job to get those guys ready for those situations. And Nick will say things that take literally no talent. Things that take no talent. Doesn't take talent to line up correctly. Not any talent whatsoever.
Well, do you think this lack of focus that they had in this week is a microcosm of maybe a bigger picture that we've talked about, where playing this way while resulting in success is fine, and it makes sense from a Sirianni perspective of they're 40-2 and they win the battle. His philosophy works, as much as fans bitch about it, and me included. I bitch about it too because I hate the damn offense. But are players not bought in? Is he losing players? Are they not? You know what I mean? Like we talk, you always talk about this, how hard it is to get 52 men bought into one goal, one vision. AJ doesn't like it. We've heard Devontae is upset with they're all in a way feeling that. I think you've even heard Jalen make comments, and he's got comments going both ways. But do you think that's a part of it?
Well, I mean, look, when things go bad, because it is a public profession, when things go bad, like this is not rare in any city, never mind with bad teams, which obviously is a constant complaint about what's not going right, what's going wrong. But even to a certain degree, and I've compared it to college and, you know, schools like Alabama, your school, where it's not good enough to win, you have to win a certain way. Um, it becomes when you reach these expectations. So it's not that part of it actually complicates things because if it isn't if it wasn't so public, you could be more patient and you could be more tempered and
Right.
you could understand there needs to be growth and there needs to be getting better and not constant change, which is continuity is always better than the alternative. Um, so yeah, it's a part of it. I mean, when guys are and guys, and by the way, players get paid on production. So it's almost like a disconnect where you say, Nick Sirianni is trying to preach to a room of 70 people, team first, team first, team first, and their whole professional life is based on their production. Their next contract is based not on the team success. That's
Right.
part of it. I mean, that helps, but it's based
And it
more on their.
doesn't really though. Like it does for maybe like the top 5 players.
Well, yeah,
I mean, outside of
it
that,
doesn't hurt. Let's put it that way. It
no, I
helps.
get it. It doesn't hurt, but like there's, with the exception of probably Jalen Hurts,
So that's the
is
kind of
AJ
stuff.
Brown going to get a $30 million contract, getting 900 yards a year? No effing way. No way.
Yeah, and that's the part you're dealing with. That's how difficult it is to be a head coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why I bring up managing personalities is way more important than what people think is important.
Well, you think
Especially
Nick's
when you
still
have,
doing a good job at that? He clearly did a good job last year, but
I
last
think
year,
overall, yeah, compared to others, he does a very good job. But it's a very difficult thing to do. Nobody's ever on the same page. You can't
has
get
it
70.
shifted this year?
No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. I mean, AJ's complaints are the same complaints he had last year. Literally the same complaints.
Yeah, but it seems like the pressure on them is increasing.
Well, the expectations are, but they were that last year. Maybe not early in the season
Yeah, but
because they were
remember they
coming off.
had the run game last year that was really working, for most of the year.
I
So
mean,
they're
I
not doing
look.
bad.
I
It
think
feels like it's like,
the expectations have been off the charts here since going to the Super Bowl and losing it to the Chiefs. They've been. And that's not necessarily a bad thing to have high expectations, but it does create other issues. And that's what, people talk about handling adversity. They're usually talking about adversity. Well, handling success is sometimes just as difficult for different reasons.
yeah, right.
Um, you have to be honest. Like one of the toughest things is to be honest with yourself. Like what are the real problems? Um, you know, And when you're good, you say, well, we'll figure it out. And Jalen Hurts said that yesterday. It's coming. It'll come, is what he said. It'll come. Well, will it?
Yeah, right. That's the other thing. It's like, Jalen yesterday makes a comment and he's like, I'm not interested in, my individual performance before the macro. The team lost the game. That's more important. And I'm like, okay, that comment sounds great, but like, are you of the impression that your individual performance doesn't have an impact on winning the game? I mean, what the fuck are we talking about here? You're the quarterback of the team. I get it. Wins are first. Your individual performance matters for wins. Obviously, you're the quarterback of the team.
Yeah. Obviously, if you play well individually, the more people that play well, the better chance. But that's to the point of, again, winning ugly versus losing pretty, for lack of a better term, or prettier. Um, And there's a disconnect between the goal on the football field and the goal in the off-season contract negotiations. And that's not going to get fixed. The Eagles can't fix it. It's not fixable. So to get people to buy in is very difficult at any particular time. Like, I'm sure as a rookie, Jahad Campbell's pissed off. He doesn't even have an impending contract, but he's playing well, and all of a sudden he's not playing. Not through no fault of his own. Just somebody got healthy, and Vic likes him better, and there's always little things. And then you have unrealistic players. You have all these different. It is really difficult. Guys who maybe were playing well in the past and aren't playing well, and guys on the ascent and guys on the descent, and they're passing like ships in the night, and you got to figure out this giant mosaic. And oh, by the way, win every week because, again, at the end of the day, they're 8-3 with a home game that will virtually assure the number 2 seed at the worst, barring a complete collapse, because they'll have the tiebreaker against every relevant team.
Well, John, this is going to get real interesting if they lose Friday and the Cowboys beat the Chiefs on Thanksgiving.
Well, I don't think even the Cowboys are relevant.
I don't either. I'm just saying, but, it's the NFL. Crazier things have happened.
Oh, I would. It would. Yeah, I mean,
the Cowboys' defense looks a whole lot different with those interior tackles, and their offense is humming. That Chiefs team, while it's good, they're not the best Chiefs team we've ever seen. I mean,
no, it wouldn't surprise. I'm not saying the Cowboys can't beat the Chiefs or the Bears can't beat the Eagles. I'm just saying, look, the sky isn't falling yet. Wait for the sky to fall. They're 8-3. They're in better position than the vast majority of teams in the NFL. The vast majority. The only ones you can argue, obviously, are the Rams. And even the Rams, I mean, they have the tiebreaker over the Rams. If the Rams have one slip up,
But that would assume that the Eagles don't have another slip up.
Well, yeah. I mean, they got to win. The way
they're playing, that margin is so small, it would almost be foolish to expect them to not have another slip up.
Look at the schedule. I know people are talking themselves into the Bears. I am not.
Well, we lost to the Cowboys, who are a mediocre team, and we lost to the Giants. I mean, I get it. They're 2 divisional opponents. You lost to the Broncos, who's a good team, but it's not like we've lost games that we should have won. Is my point. So, like, if we should win,
well, of course they're favorite every week. I mean,
yeah, and I don't think that means they're going to win every week. They were favored versus the Cowboys last week.
No, it doesn't. That's not what I'm trying to say. The same thing goes on in every other city. Welcome to every other NFL city.
Yeah, I get it.